where am I? Why am I here? Like I'm making coffee and I'm talking to strangers, and like some of my day is just taken up by like, what do we need on our grocery run? And yeah, man, that's been a wrestle for me, and I'm not gonna pretend like I thought about it just right and then I was perfectly content.
Now I'm completely satisfied with my lot. Welcome back to the Journey Coaching Podcast. We're actually in part 2 of a conversation that began last episode. So if you missed part 1, before you listen to this, click the link and just go check out part 1 of this conversation. But we're going to jump right back into part 2. So again, welcome to the Journey Coaching Podcast. I'm your host, Tyler.
I'm Abigail.
I'm Caleb.
Your life, your journey starts now.
When I have a problem, when something's hurting, I want to fix it right now, right?
Yeah.
I do not do well with sitting in discontentment or not being sad. I don't do well not being happy. If I'm not happy, I'm immediately seeking the thing that will make me happy right now. And it's like that's not how life works, and that's okay because there's actually a lot of beauty in learning how to be not completely happy, not completely satisfied for a while, but trusting that God is good regardless, because you come out on the other side of that a much stronger person, a much happier person, a much more satisfied person, in the sense that now...
Well, it's called delayed gratification.
Right.
Yeah,
right. And then because you're kind of building that up like a muscle, and so you learn to weather the storms of life better. Yep. Like when you learn how to be discontent but still rely upon God, then as you go through that season of being discontent, you come out the other side, things get better because they do, and then the next time you're in a storm, the next time you're feeling discontent, it doesn't hurt as bad as it did the first time around. Not because it's not, equally as displeasing, but because you've developed that muscle, that faith muscle to say, I know that this does not feel good right now, but I've seen how God's been faithful to me in the past, and I know that he doesn't change, and so I can be brought forward, in confidence.
Yeah, this reminds me, it's like a discipline God is training us. And actually, I'm doing 75 hard right now, but for women, so it's a little bit different. It's a little bit different.
Though. It's like 2 workouts a day, like 10 pages of a book. It's a lot, right?
Is it always 75, or is there a different number?
I don't know. I've only heard 75.
I'm sure there's a bunch of different stuff. I'm not doing it.
Everybody I know has been doing it easy then, because they're like 30 hard.
30 hard.
I'm like,
I feel like.
Abby's going for it.
75 days.
I'm not doing. Okay, so mine's a little bit different. So I'm not doing my workouts separate. I'm doing them together.
Okay. Just
but
longer workout.
Yeah, I'm just like doing a longer workout. I don't get the point of. You have to have discipline to do it twice a day. And I'm only drinking like half a gallon of water, but otherwise everything else.
Oh yeah, a gallon of water.
Okay, because I did. I was trying to drink a gallon of water every day, and that was the hardest thing out of everything. And I'm like, my body's not meant for this.
I asked. There was a guy that I work with he was drinking a gallon of water a day, and I asked him. I was like, "Is there any differences?" And he was like, I pee a lot more.
Yeah, like there's no.
Shaky.
I just am like, what? Yeah, but I think one of the.
Guess where that conversation?
Yeah, right. At the urinal. Oh gosh, that's funny.
Yeah, drinking a gallon of water a day is not. It's not fun. So I'm only doing half a gallon, but even like I'm working out really, really hard, and I'm doing sprints. I'm running, and. One of the things I found like kind of interesting is like when I am running, because I don't know what it is. I have like a deviated septum, so I can't I can't breathe through this nostril.
Oh, really? Okay.
And so because I've always had a trouble like running, and because I have to breathe through my lungs, and then also I just don't get enough air for whatever reason. And so I found it really difficult, and anytime I try to run, I get out of breath like within the first minute, and I have to stop because I'm literally gasping for air. I think I might have exercise-induced asthma or something. Anyways, I had like, I don't know when this started. Maybe, I don't know if I did this like unconsciously, but a few months ago I started running outside. And like I would listen to worship music, and while I was running, I was thinking about why I was running. And so I was like, okay, I'm doing this because in the future, when I have kids, I want them to be disciplined, and I want them to be healthy, and I want to be a good mom. And so I want to teach them like, you need to take care of your body. And so I was thinking about all the reasons why I want to do it. And then, yesterday I ran for 15 minutes straight.
Nice.
Come on.
Only breathing through my nose. I don't know what is happening, but like it's just getting a lot better. And then I sprinted the last minute, and I was like, and it wasn't difficult. And the reason why I think it wasn't difficult is because I'm imagining myself, like I'm imagining Christ on the cross dying for us, and I'm imagining all the things that, you know, this discipline is good for. And so it makes what hurts, like my lungs hurting and you know, lifting weights, and that hurts, it makes it all like have a purpose. And I feel like it's so important to have discipline before you can have like love and contentment.
One of the other things is like having those kinds of relationships, like the good friendships, say like not just with someone that you're trying to like help lead, but even just having people that are like on a similar level to you when it comes to faith. One of the reasons that that's so crucial is because let's just imagine that conversation didn't go very well. You have people in your life, even if it was a big discouragement to you, you have people in your life that you would go back to. And I know this because I know some of them, because some of them are your family that I know. And you would go back to them and tell them that the conversation didn't go well, and then they would just celebrate the fact that you opened your mouth at all. And so like you have those people around you that even when things don't go the best, whether you know, this is a certain example, whatever it is, right? You don't do great on a test, or maybe you sin in a way that you didn't intend to, or you lose a game, I don't know, or maybe something even worse, right? You get dumped, or someone passes away. Like having those relationships in your life, we talked about, like you do need friends. One of the reasons that you do need friends is because there will be things that will discourage and that will make you feel unsatisfied. And it's in those moments that, like, of course we first want to rely on God, but God put people in our life to help us in those scenarios. And so to have the kinds of friends that will encourage you and even lovingly correct you, like that's what we should be seeking. And I think a lot of that comes from being intentional in our relationships and saying, hey, it's not enough for you and I to just know each other's names and play video games together. We actually, like, let's talk about who are you, and like what are your dreams, and what are the things that are unique about you. And I think we've just gotten kind of scared of doing that, I think, in the day in which we live. It's easy to have surface level friendships, but a million surface level friendships is not going to fill the hole in your heart that only God can fill.
Well, and Tyler, you've done that for me many times, where like I came to you and I was like, hey, I know what's true, but I'm just having like I'm just not feeling it right now. And hearing it from a friend helps. Like somebody once said, like, truth in the mouth of a brother is like more valuable than truth just now. It's
hard to say the truth to yourself.
It is, and it can be. And like that's why friends are a great gift.
One of the things I just wanted you to describe, the reason that I thought we need to talk about satisfaction and contentment when it comes to Caleb is very wise, very gifted guy, right? Very high capacity. And the place that God has called him to right now in terms of his job is unique and not what I would have expected anyways. Probably not what Caleb would have expected he'd be doing at this point. Like, it's just a very specific calling. So I wanted you to just talk about what do you do, and then how has it taught you to like be satisfied in all things?
I run a cafe. So I run a coffee shop and cafe. It's in the first floor of our church. And when I was picturing like working in the church, like I have a huge passion for discipleship. Like I love spending time with guys and seeing them grow and be conformed to the image of Christ. Like, hey, like getting to walk with people as they look more like Christ, that's the dream.
Oh, that's so sweet.
That's coaching.
Like
that's why that's why Journey Coaching exists.
That's the dream.
Yeah.
And but that's not what everybody like gets to do, and that's not exactly what I get to do now. I still have discipleship relationships, but I don't get to like dedicate all my time to it. I run a coffee shop that enriches the ministries of our church, and I get to connect with people. In this city. It doesn't look exactly like I'd always dreamed it. And that's been like a wrestle for me. And even like I had to grieve that I had expectations for what the future would look like, and it doesn't look like it right now. Who knows what God will do in the future, but it'd be really easy, and I find myself drifting to this place of, where am I? Why am I here? Like, I'm making coffee, and I'm talking to strangers, and like some of my day is just taken up by like, what do we need on our grocery run? And yeah, man, that's been a wrestle for me, and I'm not gonna pretend like I thought about it just right, and then I was perfectly content.
Now I'm completely satisfied with my lot.
Yeah, instead I think it has been a wrestle, and you've been along for the ride of that wrestle. Talk about earlier, like friends getting to speak into our lives, and the biggest thing is like God is not calling you to be faithful where he hasn't put you.
Yeah.
My point there being, no matter where you are, God's call to you is to be faithful to him. And like something I meditate on frequently is Psalm 23, written by David.
Yep.
And he says at the beginning, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want," is a very traditional translation.
Yep.
The CSB would also translate it, "The Lord is my shepherd, I have all I need." And the reality is, like, we've been talking about contentment, satisfaction, and it's like, who would actually satisfy you? Is it your friends? Is it where you work?
Right.
Is it your life circumstances being just right and your finances exactly where you want them? It's like, no, because the Lord is your shepherd. If he is your shepherd, you have all that you need. And I mean, that's not any different from me running this in, like, running a cafe, and it's truly a blessing.
Well, and in 1 Corinthians 10, there's a verse that says, whether you eat or drink or whatever you do it all for the glory of God. And so it's like, I can eat dinner to the glory of God, and I can clean up dog poop to the glory of God, and I can, wash my car to the glory of God. Like all of those things.
Yeah.
And actually, I think having that mindset allows you to be much more content, because then whether you get to do something that's just in and of itself really satisfactory to you, like you get to have that super deep conversation, coaching someone, discipling someone, or you're doing something that seems menial, like making a grocery list for the coffee shop. If I'm doing it to the glory of God, then I can actually be satisfied in either one, you know.
I'll answer this question, but like, how do you develop and defend that mindset? Because that's a hard mindset to keep. It's a hard mindset to get. Like, how do you get it?
That's a great point.
Practicing satisfaction, like practicing contentment in the Lord when things are going well, so that when they're not going well or when you need them, then you have the skills. Meaning, like, I'm trying to think of a good comparison, right? Okay, let's do firefighting.
Yeah, do it.
Right? Like, firefighters don't learn how to put out a fire when they're at a house that's burning down with people inside. They learn how to put out a fire in a controlled setting when everything is like where it needs to be, so that they have the skills needed that when they actually go on a house call, they can do their job well. Yeah. And the same thing is true, I think, when it comes to that kind of mindset. So as to say, like, when things are going well, I need to be reminding myself to practice being satisfied in God and being content with what I have. Because if I try to start that when things aren't going well, I'm at a huge disadvantage.
Yeah.
So if you develop the mindset when things are going fairly well, you will carry it over into those tough times much better than if you try to start it in the middle of a rough patch.
But you will not become tomorrow a person you are not already becoming today.
Yeah.
Like, these things, they carry forward.
It doesn't magically happen.
So how do we develop it then? Like, so we need to prepare before. How do we train? How do we become that person?
I think going off of like I was talking with some of my girls that I kind of disciple this past week, and we're talking about like trusting in God, and even when things are hard. And I had told them, I was like, it's something that you have to develop. Like, over time, like, I've seen God work in ways that I couldn't have imagined. And so my faith is stronger because of that. And so when someone asks like them to like trust you, like, they give a level of like, okay, I'm going to do what I said I will do. And so I think even in the small things, there's a verse that it says, all hard work will like bring a profit or something. And like, we know that in everything that we do, like even if it's insignificant, God will move through it. And even if we don't see that, we have faith and we trust over time that he will, because he shows himself in little ways. So when the things that I can see, oh God, I can see you moving. And so in the places where I can't actively see him moving, I can trust that he is.
Yeah. Well, and I think like in the insignificant and in the stuff that like you don't expect God to use, like suffering and like trial. And it's like James 1, it says, count it all as joy, my brothers, when you encounter trials of various kinds, for you know that the testing of your faith produces steadfastness.
Yeah.
And let steadfastness have its full effect, that you may be made perfect, lacking in nothing.
Yeah.
Or like Romans 8, this is more of a paraphrase, that it's like, God would use and work together all things for the good of those who believe in him. And if you look down later in the passage, what is he doing? Well, he's making you look like Jesus.
Yeah. There's something that happened in my life that I like really just kind of mind boggles me. So 4 years ago, or no, this had been like 4.5 years ago, our house like got hit by two trees fell on it, and these were big trees. I mean, our house was like 2 stories tall, and it was like taller than our house. These like big oak trees, and that house was built in 1998 or 99. And it was interesting because when the trees fell on our house, it was during a huge storm that was just insane. It was on national news, and we were inside the house in the basement, and we were able to get out, and we just have this like huge oak tree leaning on our house. And afterwards, we have like, I think it was engineers or insurance people came to inspect the house. And they look up into the roof, and there's an extra, I think it's called a truss.
Trellis, yeah.
Yeah. There was an extra run.
Trellis.
I don't know what you say. Anyways,
trust. There we go.
Yeah, trust.
Yeah,
Keep
besides
going.
the point. Yeah. So
Right.
right where the tree fell, there was an extra truss or whatever you call it. And the people were like, this is so weird and interesting. And my dad is like, no, it was God. And like decades before, when this house was being built, you know, for whatever reason, why they had this extra piece of roofing, who God knows why, is like, oh, they might have ordered an extra one. They're like, okay, we might as well put it in.
Yeah.
Something so insignificant where decades later, I don't know.
It saved
Yeah,
you
maybe
from
saved
could have saved
life,
us.
yeah.
Right. And it's like, it's things like that where you think about it and you're like, how many things do we not even know, or do we not think about that God is moving in our lives and we don't even see?
Yeah.
Someone said one time, this podcaster, he was like, I've started to pray and thank God for the things that I don't even know he's doing.
Yeah.
Because you just don't see.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's sweet.
That's a good practical thing too. If you are looking for deeper satisfaction in your life, if you want to know more about what it looks like to be satisfied in any circumstance, we want that for you too. So go over to journeycoaching.org and check out more of the resources there. We would love to get you connected and get you on your way towards growing in being satisfied in all things, most importantly in God. So go check us out, journeycoaching.org, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening. Tune in next time and make sure you like and subscribe. Visit us at journeycoaching.org and check us out on Facebook and Instagram. Start your own journey at journeycoaching.org.
Your life, your journey starts now.